Hello and welcome to today's video. So I get this question quite often and it is, how do you edit your acting showreel? Now I've always done my own personally just because I enjoy editing and I think it's important to learn the process as well, and if you have the time then yeah, it saves you money and you get to learn a new skill whilst producing your showreels, whatever type of showreel it is. Now don't get me wrong, I do understand and have personally experienced this can sometimes be bad because obviously if you edit it wrong or if it's not enough high standards and quality like the industry, it can kind of hold you back. Maybe it has for me, who knows, but I like editing it and I have learnt a lot over feedback and just learning off other people's showreels and my personal experience and what I prefer. But today I wanted to go through the kind of organisation of a showreel and the key points, you could say, of what I like to hit in each one of my showreel and hopefully I tick off. Now to firstly quickly say, I personally use Adobe Premiere Pro for my self-tape editing. I've used this for quite a few years, from like the 2017 version up until now, but before that I did use Movie Maker and anything basically that I could get my hands on, whether it was university software or ones that I have myself. So hopefully me showing you Adobe ones doesn't get you too confused, but again, it's just kind of rough structures, so it'll still be able to help you. It's just I will show a few clips of how I specifically do it within Adobe. And just to quickly say, the reason why I chose Adobe was actually because my other half used it and I just learnt it that way really. I've enjoyed learning it, still a lot to learn, still a lot I can do, but yeah, for now I use that and it's done me a good job. Anyway, let's get to this video and go through some of the pointers. Now the first advice that I've been given many times, and I've heard so many people within the industry advise this to other fellow actors, and that is put your best acting showreel first. I think it kind of goes without saying, but you know, maybe they might not have a lot of time to watch your footage and you want to, what's the word, crack it on the head, nail in the head, I don't know the phrase, but you want the best one to be seen first and them to go, wow, look at this performer, we want them. So yeah, put your first one first. But a little pointer, and this may not sound like a big deal, but it can be, because these people have never seen you before. So try and make sure the first clip is of you and they can see you, because you want the audience to know exactly who they're focusing on, especially because they've probably never seen what you look like, or you might look different in your showreel scene that you do compared to your headshots. So yeah, try and make sure that the first clip on the screen is you. The second one is the total time of your showreel. Now, as I've said before, you do try and aim it to roughly be about 1 minute to 3 minute max. Don't get me wrong, I'm one of them who's gone over, and I think mine might be slightly over 3 minutes. I think it's like 3:10. I get it, I did go over, but this is just a general tip, just because you want to be able to show variety and different scenes in your showreel. If it's just loads and loads of scenes that are showing exactly the same thing, that's why it's better to be short and sweet. And also, you want the audience to be captivated in it. You know, if your casting director's flicking through it, you want them to see highlights of what you can do in different genres, scenes, accents, you name it. So the shorter the better, but of course, if you have a brilliant scene that shows such a range of your performance, include it, and they might not mind it, it's over a certain amount of minutes. But I would say try not to do it any more than like 3:30 max, because I do think that's a bit too long. And at this point, it might be worth having different showreels for certain things. For example, maybe different genres, different accents, different languages, things like that, just to kind of keep it a bit more condensed and specific to what the casting director might be asking and want. Now, when you get a new piece of footage, a new showreel scene from the work that you've done, try and make sure when you get a new scene, take an old one out. So often when you get a new scene, the best advice is to take the oldest one out. But granted, this could work in the sense of if you have a scene that you look so young and it was like 10 years ago and you look completely different and, you know, just more you who you are now, maybe take that scene out. I understand that sometimes you want to keep like the most well-known production you've been in, and that was 10 years ago, but if it doesn't need to be in there and it doesn't really add anything from your performance and things like that, it might be best to take it out. And it also goes without saying, once you get a new scene and a better scene, take the worst one out. So either way, basically it's just trying to filter. It's like when you're stacking a shelf, you take old ones off, good in, old out. Now this one can take a little bit of time, but it's so worth it, and this one can sometimes help with people's feedback, or if you have your agent or management, or people you just trust in the industry and who's close to you, is when you get new projects back, you don't want to put everything in it. It's trying to pick the best scene from that whole project, one that shows your range, or one that specifically is showing something that you don't have in your show reel. So it is a bit of sieving, and I think sometimes it's a bit of trial and error, but just try and edit, and just try and have those best bits in your show reel editing bit, and just pick one of the best and see which one fits the best within your show reel. The next one is include simple title cards for your project, name, and the company that you've done it with. Now, I always fade these in at the beginning of each of my new clip. I pretty much just use a cross dissolve fade, and I try to keep it very small so it's not too much of like a jarring transition. And then you don't want it too long, because then it starts blending between the scenes and your audio might start blending, and you don't really want that. You want it to be quite quick but smooth, and the audience member isn't going to really think about the transition, and it's just going to flow nicely. But yeah, I pretty much just do the fade for each one of them. But if you have any recommendations of something a little bit better, please let me know, because I'm always interested in better transitioning. Put in your intro cards at the end of your show reels. So what I mean by the intro card, there's probably a better name for it, but what I basically mean is having your headshot on one side of the photo, and then all your information, whether that's your website, spotlight, contact information, agent, you name it, you just put it at the end. Now, I used to put this at the beginning of my show reel for about 2 seconds, so it comes up and then flows into the scene. But from personal feedback from a lot of industry people, like casting directors and whatnot, they felt that it's better to put it right at the end, because they know it's you because they're clicking on it. If it's on your spotlight or your website and things like that, they know they're clicking on you. So you want it to get straight into the acting scene and for them to see your performance. But I completely understand if it's cold on kind of social media and things like that, and it's just being reshared, then yes, you might want to put it at the front. I think it all comes down to your personal preference, whether you like it at the beginning or the end, and who you're essentially showing it to. But me personally, I like to put it at the end of the show reel, just so they know where to get all the information right at the end. And bouncing back to the note I said, you want you as the first clip seen in the beginning of your show reel. If you can't do that, then maybe put it at the front, so then they know, okay, I'm looking at this person and they're in this scene. So yeah, all comes down to personal preference, and I've done both. And to be honest, I don't think it's made much of a difference. But yeah, right now I enjoy putting it right at the end. Gradually fading in and out audio. So this I can use on any of the scenes. It depends what part of the project, but often or not, when it's at the end of your show reel, I find, because I put my intro card at the end, I guess it's called an outro card, isn't it? I put my outro card right at the end. Often or not, the audio can sound a bit like sudden stopping, so just put in a gradual fade at the end of my show reel makes it blend a little bit nicer than from having a harsh kind of cut of the sound, essentially. Of course, this can only work if you have a little bit like outro music in your last scene. Not outro music, but audio to kind of transition it. I understand if someone's saying a line next, but if you can, I think it's always nice to fade out the sound where you can, just so it's a little bit smoother, runs nicer. And just so it's a continuation of your show reel, essentially, because they're reading the information and hopefully you might have some nice little audio to carry it through. And you don't need it very long. It's just, again, to your personal preference or your personal opinion on how long you want it. But yeah, as you can see, this is roughly how long I have it. And my last pointer for today is formatting. Now, when I mean by this, I mean like the whole process. So before you export it, especially in Adobe, I always make sure that I render in and out the full clip. That's basically so there's no bugs in the video, essentially, and it gets processed the best quality as possible. Because then when you export your show reel, it's all nice and ready, and then you're just making sure that it's up to all the ratios and details that you would like it. These are my personal preferences, especially the main formatting. This one I have been recommended to use, and over the years it's done me great, mainly because it gives you the best quality video. So then when you upload it to like streaming websites such as YouTube or Vimeo and things like that, that will automatically compress your video. So having it the highest possible quality you can, it means when it is on those platforms, is still a really good quality, and as I said, it's not compressing your file and ruining your performance. So these are just the formatting bits that I like to make sure I stick to when I'm exporting videos. But if you're ever unsure, there's so many different videos online who can help you in a lot more detail of explaining the differences of the different categories and why you pick such, like, you know, for social media and things like that. But this one is ultimately the best for high resolutions for your video to be shared wherever you can. So that's all my points for today. And of course, showreels are predominantly all down to personal opinions and preferences, you know, things that people have given feedback for me and that they like. Another casting director or agent, producer, whoever may hate that. So at the end of the day, I think if you love it and you're content with it and people who you trust and love really do like it, genuinely do, then that's a great start and just go from there. And as I said, you know, for me, this has just been a journey slowly building up and developing over the years. And any feedback I get, I take on and I try and improve it and take bits that I like and hopefully can make my show reels better. But of course, if there's anything that you recommend or you like and things that I've missed, please do let me know. Because as I say, like anyone, like people, we can all learn, we can all develop and grow. And yeah, I just hope some of these pointers have helped you. And if they do, please let me know. And all the best of getting your show reels together. And also, if you're not editing your own show reels and someone else is producing your show reels for you, it's always nice to know kind of the process and how they might be doing it, because then if there's something you don't like, you can point out exactly what it is and you're not confused of, you know, something's wrong and you feel it is but you're not sure what. Hopefully these little bits can help you go, yeah, I really don't like that bit, please could you change this? So it's always good to understand the back end of how things are made, I feel, because then you can kind of express more of how you feel about it and, you know, give feedback and things like that. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed this video today, and as always, I hope you have a great day, evening, wherever you are, and take care. Goodbye.